Hello, my name is Erin Gaber and I'm a world champion artistic roller skater, and in this tutorial I'm going to be going over backwards scissors. Alright, so in this tutorial we're going to be talking about backwards scissors, okay? So once you've learned how to go forwards, you're rolling pretty well, you've got good balance, you think you're ready to go backwards now, the first thing you should do, you can do backwards marches and or backwards scissors, okay? So backwards scissors are a little bit trickier than forward scissors because we're starting in this toes together position, okay? This is just a little bit awkward usually for most people, okay? And the scissors action is a little tricky sometimes. So if you're having a little bit of issue getting like the initial start of the scissors, I would recommend starting with some marching and then moving into the scissors, okay? But let's just go over the scissors today, okay? So we're starting with our toes pointed towards each other, okay? As always, we're gonna bend our knees. We're gonna keep our core strong and engaged, and our arms are gonna be out for balance, okay? So just like the forward scissors, you're gonna push your weight or pressure outward, okay, to start you, okay? Then once you get going, you want to immediately press on the inside to pull the skates back together, okay? And just like with the forward ones, we don't want our skates to hit because that will stop us. You know, if we've got any type of momentum and our skates hit, we're gonna fall down, okay? So before your skates actually touch, you want to make sure that you bevel off that edge, flatten it out, not so much on the inside, and actually press slightly on the outside, okay? So we're pushing our weight out, then we press on the inside to pull them back together, then we're beveling it off, flattening and pressing it outer, so we get our skates more in this parallel position rather than this pigeon-toed position, okay? So once again, we've got toes pointed together, bending our knees. We're gonna push our pressure outwards in both of our skates, then press inside, use these leg muscles to pull those together, okay? And again, we don't want those to crash into each other, okay? So you want to bevel it off so they're parallel and roll in between each scissor. So something I typically tell my students, you're gonna scissor and roll. Scissor and roll. So you want to give yourself a moment in between each one to actually roll, because again, that is the purpose of the scissors, is to teach you how to roll forward or backwards, okay? So common errors for the scissors are starting with your skates maybe too pigeon-toed or pointed too far apart where your heels are pointed drastically pointed outward, and then you really get some nice push, and then oh no, you let your skates get way out here and you can't bring them back together, okay? So you do want to make sure you avoid getting them stuck out there. Just like the forward ones, I typically tell my students only a hair wider than the shoulders, okay? Then you want to start bringing them back. Okay, one more thing, the momentum that you get from the start of the scissor, you want to maintain throughout the scissor, throughout the back half of the scissor as well. If you get stuck out here and you don't continue to pull it back together, it's going to be harder for you to initiate that power again to pull it back together. So you want to use the power that you get at the beginning of the scissor and maintain it throughout until you complete that scissor all the way. Okay? One more thing that I see a lot of people do when they're first learning this is they don't bring their feet all the way back together, probably for fear of hitting them, but you still want to bring them back together under your body. Since scissors use the connection between the wheel and the floor to create power, the more floor you have in connection with, the more power you will get. So if I'm only doing my scissor out here and then I do it again, like I lost all the floor that I could have potentially used for scissors or to generate power, okay? So you want to bring them all the way back together underneath you instead of out here. Okay, so you want to bring them underneath you, parallel. They should be about an inch to 2 inches apart, okay? Another common error is once you start to generate power, we typically don't walk backwards, so moving in a backwards motion is a little unusual for us, so our body will naturally tip forward. So in order to avoid this, you want to make sure that your knees are bent and you are standing up straight. You're going to want to essentially lead with your back as you do this. Okay, so again, it's very common for your body to pitch forward as you generate power. This is a very common thing. You want to make sure, I know you're thinking about what your feet are doing, but try really hard not to stare at the floor, okay, because your head is actually a lot heavier than you think, and if this is forward, it's going to be a lot more likely that your body is going to fall forward once you start to generate power here, okay? So bend your knees, core strong and engaged, arms are out for balance and a visual reference, okay? And we're going to push our weight outward, then transition to the inside, pull them together, and I'm keeping my back nice and straight so I'm not going forward onto my toe stops. Once again, my name is Erin Gaber, and thank you so much for joining us on this tutorial going over backward scissors.